Book name: Psychoanalysis and Religion. Author: Waldemar Anacleto. To get better quality on YouTube on a computer or laptop, set the video configuration to 1080 pixels, HD resolution. Click the gear icon, Settings, in the bottom right corner, select Quality, and choose 1080 pixels, HD resolution.
Synopsis. Each of us has a specific way in which we act and react to situations which arise in our lives. We all live by action and reaction. The dynamic of living demands that we respond through action or reaction. Not all of us act and react in the same way as others to life's common circumstances from birth, childhood, adolescence to the adult years. There is no moment in life in which one does not either act or react. Some are quick to act or react, uninhibited and agile, while others are timid, acting and reacting so slowly as to be hardly noticeable. This has been the source of various mishaps and misunderstandings, whether at work, at school, within families or relationships, due to a lack of patience or comprehension toward those whose reaction times are the slower of the two groups. Today's world demands record production times and almost instantaneous reaction times from everyone. Such circumstances are sure to bring about conflict, especially when temperaments of those who influence our actions and reactions are misunderstood. For this very reason, not a few employees are let go because market-driven timelines were not met. Households fall apart or are in a state of perpetual tension because one spouse does not comprehend the other on this issue. Parents, children, and siblings all claim incompatibility in their relationships with each other, citing the very same motives.
Dedication. None of us does anything alone without receiving some form of help, either direct or indirect. That is why am aware that this final product was only possible because had a marvelous team standing behind me. Made up the following: Adelenide Phytosa B. Anacleto, my dear wife. Valdenide Phytosa Anacleto, my firstborn. Valneide Phytosa Anacleto, my African daughter. Waldemar Anacleto Jr., my youngest boy. Throughout the most difficult moments when contemplated giving up on this book, the memory of this marvelous family gave me courage to press forward and overcome all obstacles. It is to you that dedicate this book in order that you may remember that love you with all of my heart.
Introduction. The opening years of the 21st century have evaporated with considerable speed. It is no longer possible to ignore the desperation which has taken hold of humanity. The truth of this can be readily observed in all layers of society where the terrifying threat of violence is a constant reality, both internally, as evidenced by domestic violence, and externally, embodied in street gangs. These instances generate a desperate clamor for peace, security, and justice, as well as for someone who can be trusted. The judiciary has had its share of trouble with the learned and the unlearned, as with the working class and the rich. Highly complex and sophisticated crimes stemming from each sector have made their mark on society. This whole scenario has mobilized those professionals working with human behavior to seek an explanation, and some enlightenment that could attenuate this sudden increase in deviant behavior. This social explosion emanates from the depths of the being we call human, a being from whom one would expect only the most docile of attitudes. Society has witnessed behavioral contradictions within its varied strata of individuals who practice robbery, theft, homicide, matricide and patricide, infanticide and pedophilia. In addition, one must also take into account deviant behavior which is at once both encouraged and viewed as normal. In the sphere of sexual behavior, everything from marital infidelity and adultery to sex changes has become commonplace within our morbid society. In light of these suffocating facts, two solutions present themselves: education and religion. We lack education, we lack religion, is the timid cry of one who, in fact, cannot define with precision that which is lacking. Psychoanalysis is one of those sciences devoted to bringing solutions, complete or partial, to the world's afflictions. Ever since its discovery, it has revolutionized the course of psychological investigation. On the other hand, religion has hardly been any less prevalent in the day-to-day activities worldwide. What is, therefore, the relationship between these two spheres? Are they at odds with each other? Or are they partners for the good of humanity?
Chapter 1. Psychoanalysis and Religion, Enemies or Partners? Having already traveled a great distance along each avenue of this important subject, psychoanalysis and religion, and after having spent 25 years in one field and more than half of that in the other field as well, have heard expressed a variety of thoughts and ideas which are paradoxical and even mutually exclusive. However, most often than not these are ill-formed thoughts concerning the aforementioned tools directed at bettering humankind. Truth is, depending on the way each tool is handled, serious psychological damage may result through misapplication of either one of these methods. In order to speak with any degree of coherence about any given subject, the speaker must take into consideration the other's level of knowledge, dexterity, and comprehension of the subject matter at hand. Using this as our starting point, it is necessary to establish definitions of those areas of investigation pertinent to this book. Therefore, humbly offer a set of succinct observations that may be taken as definitions of each chosen area of study. These 8 given in order to facilitate our comprehension of the importance of each. Once this is achieved, we'll then proceed to lay out both methods side by side to compare and to determine if each reaches their intended goals. Psychoanalysis. What is it? Psychoanalysis can be simply defined as the analysis of the psyche, that is, the psychology makeup of a person. Hence, psyche plus analysis equals psychoanalysis. The complexities involved in studying human subjects, however, require further elucidation. A more exact definition would be to say that psychoanalysis is that method of
investigation which seeks to appoint meaning and significance to unconscious acts, words, and imaginary constructs. The founder, Sigmund Freud, medical neurologist, is the father of psychoanalysis. While searching for causes behind certain incurable diseases of his day, he ran across a series of infirmities which had no physical explanation nor presented any visible signs of tissue breakdown. The symptoms included paralysis, blindness, vomiting, muscle spasms and twitches, amnesia, deafness, delirious states, phobias, fears, obsessions, and convulsions. These symptoms were not explained by physical connections, nor were they responsive to traditional medical treatment through drug therapy. Freud, then, began slowly to apply a psychological approach, from hypnosis to catharsis, penetrating into the depths of the human personality which, up to that moment, was uncharted territory. He developed a method which would become known as free association, in which the patient was allowed to speak freely about all which came to mind and could be remembered. He focused specifically on accounts of lost childhood memories. Freud discovered that, in certain cases, the patient's symptoms and illnesses had their roots in unresolved childhood conflicts. Upon this discovery, Freud announced to the world that unresolved, psychological events during childhood would become lodged and fixed in the unconscious, generating future maladies and difficulties. This announcement caused an immediate impact, a real worldwide revolution. It was not long before opponents to this view surfaced. But Freud continued to utilize his method, not caring about his detractors. His successes and satisfactory results were proof that he was right. To this day, disagreements persist regarding psychoanalysis. But the truth is that it cannot be summarily nor absolutely rejected, given there are a host of medically insolvable cases which find their cure through psychoanalysis. Today, this is substantiated in the treatment of psychosomatic cases. These represent symptoms which stem from psychological origins but whose effects are physical. Oftentimes, the patient has been subjected to some intense, emotional conflict in childhood that has